Very warm welcome to Dublin. The boys are back in town for round 5 of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup, and pride, of course, is at stake today to win this round. The rain has been falling throughout the women's race. We're going to call forward the riders onto the start line. Here's the standings. Ellie Isabit has a 1-point advantage on Lars van der Haar, who doesn't start today. Pim Ronhaar in 3rd place, Joris Nieuwenhuis in 4th, Thibaut Nice in 5. It is a muddy and wet afternoon in Dublin. Well, there's a few riders missing, but the World Cup leader is here. So let's hear now from Ellie Isabit.
How was your trip to Dublin?
Yeah, not ideal, but we're here, so I lacked a bit of sleep last night, but yeah, I'm happy to compete here and to be at the start. So it's an important race, and we're happy to be in Ireland.
Thibaut, the last time you stood on the podium was on the 1st of November. What has changed since then?
Not a lot, but at the other hand, I think the shape is not where it was at that time. Just feel like those 5% extra is missing a little bit, but maybe we can turn it around today and go for the podium again.
Do you see it happening today in Dublin?
I hope so. It's a nice course. I like to be here. It's yeah, it's our cyclocross course should be. I think we can learn from this in Belgium as well.
Laurens Week, how's the tire? How's the track?
Yeah, the tire is flat, so not so good. The track is it's good enough. Yeah, a little bit of rain now, so it will be a little bit different in 2 hours. But I think it looks nice.
What does have to happen for you to win today?
Yeah, not much, but just maybe one time the click, and then yeah, I hope it will be today. We will see. Yeah.
Michael van Toerenhout, you fell hard yesterday. Didn't look that good. How's the feeling today?
Not so good. Yesterday the pain in the evening was good, but now after one night, it's yeah, a lot of more pain. But yeah, I'm here, so I'm trying to start a race, and we will see in the races.
Do you have any expectations for yourself today then?
No, I'm happy I'm here, but yeah, we will see in the race, and it's really technical with the rain, so yeah. Maybe I can do with my technical skills a little more, but yeah, we will see.
Cameron Mason, podium yesterday, quick trip to Dublin afterwards. How's the feeling today?
Yeah, good already. It was nice to fly into Dublin and get picked up by my dad, went back to the house, chill, yeah, all good. It's nice, and I feel already like yesterday opened my legs up a bit. So.
You're Scottish, so this is not exactly a home race, but is as close as it gets.
Yeah, at the moment it's as close as it gets, and already the sport's been so cool. You know, it's a special day when you have people shouting for you all around the track in recon, and it's one of those days, so it's cool.
How big are the chances we get to see you again on the podium today?
Yeah, I'd like to think good. Yeah, the legs are obviously there, and everything else just has to go right. So I'm looking forward to just letting it all play out.
Wish you the best of luck. Thank you very much.
The riders are due to be called forward then onto the start line. It's a small field of riders, I have to say, 28 riders, which is the smallest of the season, a little bit disappointing. 7 nations represented. But I think we're going to have a pretty fierce fight because we don't have Lars van der Haar here, we don't have Joris Nieuwenhuis, and of course the 3 kings of Pidcock and Van der Poel and wow, Van Aert. I was just enjoying watching that kid in the mud. That was typical Irish playfulness. Yeah, those 3 are not here, so we do have an elite group of riders, but let's see how this plays out. It could be an interesting race with the likes of Lars van der Haar not being here. It gives some other riders an opportunity potentially to get themselves onto a World Cup podium. So far this season, the wins have come from Thibaut Nice in Waterloo, Lars van der Haar in Maasmechelen, Pim Ronhaar in Dendermonde, and Ellie Isabit in Troyes last time. because it's so muddy and wet, who does that feature in terms of the possible winner of today's race? I think it certainly favours Lawrence Swake. Michael van Turnhout, I wonder whether he will finish this cyclocross. He had a very bad fall yesterday, and as you heard from him in that interview, he is in a lot of pain. His doctor did confirm that he only suffered a partial dislocation of the shoulder joint, no fractures, and he was in the lead on the final lap in the X2O Trophy round in Kotrick yesterday. So he's travelled here, but he's in a lot of pain.
Ryan Camp's currently sixth in the World Cup standings.
3,000 metres this course. Bit of music in the background. Dublin, of course, has produced several international musicians and groups of major success, including the Dubliners, Thin Lizzy, the Boomtown Rats, U2, the Script, Sinead O'Connor, Boyzone and Westlife, to name just a few. It is a city of music, there's no doubt about that. And we're right in the area of the Sport Island campus, which is in Blanchardstown, which is about 10 kilometres, 6 miles northwest of Dublin.
Next to make his appearance at the start line. And we're delighted to have him. It's Michael van Turnhout of Belgium.
Michael van Turnhout rides forward, but how much is this shoulder going to hurt? Bearing in mind just how much harder you're going to have to work now that the rain has fallen. Could be a painful afternoon for him.
Now bring him up. 23-year-old Belgium. Here's Niels van der Putte from Alpecin de Koning.
The final rider is called forward. We're only a couple of minutes then from the start of round 5 here in Dublin. Varble just checking the start area. He's just not sure about some of the mud and everything that's on the course. This is Niels van der Putte, 4th in Maasmechelen so far this season. Alongside him, European champion, crash yesterday, Michael van Turnhout. The World Cup leader is Ellie Isabit, winner last time out. There's the tyre choice. Thibaut Nace, winner of the first round of racing. This is Lawrence Swake, winner of the World Cup last season. Hasn't really got going and firing on all cylinders yet. Ryan Camp, he's ready. Alongside him, Toon van den Bos, looking for a top 6. He's got close. And Pim Ronhaar, the winner in Dendermonde. The riders are making their final preparations. 1 minute until the race starts. The crowd is ready to urge these riders on. Round 5 of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup is about to get underway. We're on reds. We get set for green.
30 seconds now, riders. Let's bang the boards. Let's bring them up the straight and send them into battle.
Green and go in Dublin for round 5 of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. And a very fast start. And this first right-hander is really tricky. Is everyone safely through? Looks like they are. Ellie Isabit gets a really strong start. And looking through the fields, Michael van Turnhout didn't have the best of starts. I don't think Cameron Mason did either. Van Turnhout goes straight into the pits. Bike change for him. Comes back out on his Belgian bike. So the leader is Isabit. Niels van der Putte up there as well. And is a bit keen to stay near the front and just try and dominate things a little bit if he possibly can. Van der Putte is in second place. Also up there, Ryan Kamp. Kamp has had some good starts this season. Finished in 5th place in Troyes. And we'll see how things settle down over the coming few minutes. On this section, though, you've got to find some traction from somewhere. Very good start for the American Scott Funston in 11th place at the end of the first surge of riders. So Funston having a fantastic performance, wearing number 22. So for American fans, he's there or thereabouts. But Ellie is a bit trying to just push the pace on. It's one long line of riders onto the hurdles now. No area, not too easy to jump them, but one rider has chosen to jump them. Looked like it was Kevin Kuhn who managed to jump those hurdles. Very good performance from him in that sticky mud. So Isabit just trying to push things a little bit further. Everybody just hanging on the wheels. Scott Funston is still there. So for American fans, he's down in 12th place now. On his wheel is Cameron Mason. So look out for Scott Funston wearing number 22. Jens Adams up there in 8th place in that turquoise-coloured kit, just ahead of Corny van Kessel. Yesterday, Isabit took the victory in Kortrijk, ahead of Lars van der Haar. Cameron Mason was in 3rd. Corny van Kessel was in 4th. Jens Adams in 5th. Niels van der Putte in 6th place. We've really got to stay in the wheels here. Otherwise, this race is just going to go away from you. Be a little bit of tiredness as well from the travel of yesterday. There's Van Turnhout, so he's still there onto the sand, and Isabit's trying to ride all the way through this section, which it looks like he's going to manage to do. Very, very impressive. And look at the way they've come out on the other side. Thibaut Nace rides that entire section. This race firmly stretched now. Thibaut Nace looking strong. Van der Putte on his wheel. Isabit goes to the left-hand side a little bit. Takes some traction on the grass. Surprised how far back Lawrence Swake is. There's no room on this course at all for a rider feeling bad. You've got to keep the pressure on for the entire lap of the race. If you're having a bad moment, you're just going to lose time. So Isabit in 3rd place now. Toon van den Bos in 4th. Van den Bos, oh, and a crash there on that turn from Isabit, and a fall also for, I think, Ryan Kamp. Take a look at the replay. Real slide there from Isabit. This is the problem on this course. It's so wet now, but also it's dislodging the rocks under the surface. Thibaut Nace trying to turn around the last few races now. He took the first victory. By his own admission, he's not quite on the form he was in Waterloo. Maybe today will change that. No doubt he's taking over now at the front for the Baloise Trek Lions. There's Isabit going through the picture in the World Cup leaders jersey. Proper muddy cyclocross. Pim Ronhaar goes through the picture. Fantastic atmosphere here in Dublin this afternoon. So many people have made the trip from the UK to go to Dublin to watch this particular race. Thibaut Nace stretching this race out now. Just signed a new contract with Lidl Trek. He rides for the Baloise Trek Lions, but they want him in Trek colours for as long as possible. So he signed until 2026 with the Trek family. Luca Guerciolino, who's the team manager of the Lidl Trek team, said that they've been very pleased with his performance, the way he's ridden. And he says that Thibaut's strength is his versatility. He can win on all different terrains, and he's also got a fast sprint, so that's a great card to play after a hard race. They've also said they're not going to rush. They want to make sure that he reaches his very best level possible. So a little bit of a development plan for Thibaut Nace with the Lidl Trek team. Some riders not quite having the day they expected so far, as Nace gets rid of the sunglasses. Ronhaar goes through, then Isabit, then Lawrence Swake. Van Turen out as we come up to the end of lap number 1. Thibaut Nace is looking for a bit of assistance from Toon van den Bos. And that first lap is an 8:02 lap once we do the calculation for the opening 80 metres or so. (8:02), Toon van den Bos an 8:02, Ellie Isabit an 8:06. As Nace goes into the pits this time, pick up a new bike. The pit crews are going to be pretty busy this afternoon, I would imagine. Toon van den Bos, a little attack then. Looks like Isabit's going to bring this group of riders back. There's no real cohesion at the front. And there is Cameron Mason, who's finding the start of this cross extremely difficult. Had a podium finish yesterday, and it may well be he's just very tired. A little duo at the front. Here's a bit looking around to see where everybody is, and a slide from Toon van den Bos into that turn. So that lap was a 22.4 km/h lap. Toon van den Bos had the fastest lap time with Thibaut Nace on 8:2.1. Ronhaar on 8:6.7. Michael Van Turen out having a wonderful ride at the moment, considering that shoulder. Thibaut Nace just trying to push things on a little bit more and keep this duo at the front of this race. Because he's got nice clear track, he's able to hurdle those. So is Isabit as well, that helps out. Cameron Mason just not having a good start to this race. There he is, the British champion, not performing the way he wanted to. Tabo Nace pushing on down this section. This is the area we saw in the women's race that made a bit of a difference. And moving up into third place now, looks like Kevin Kuhn having a very good start as well in that luminous yellow and blue kit of the Circus Rose team. You can hear the screech of those disc brakes. Kevin Kuhn putting himself in a good position in second place. The advantage you've got in this race is the fact you've got one long string of riders. So even if you're suffering, if you can just get in the slipstream, you at least are in the race and you're in with a chance. And Cameron Mason has managed to do that, getting himself onto the last place. Now into the sand. The further you are back here, the more problems you have. You're having to follow the rider in front. And this is where Tabo Nace makes a big difference. Comes out in the lead, opens up a few seconds, looks around. He's still keeping everybody on the ropes. And there's a bit coming up to him. Lawrence Swake and the rest of the Corendon team starting to pack some riders up towards the front. Let's remember that so far, 3 wins for the Baloise Trek Lions, 1 for the team of Pau Sausen. Glass is getting lost. So many Giulia Ciccone-style throws this afternoon. And Van Turnhout starting to suffer. So the race situation. Tabo Nace from Ellie Isabeth, from Lawrence Swake, Kevin Kuhn, Pim Ronhaar, Toon van den Bos, Joran Verschoor, Jens Adams, Corny van Kessel, Niels van der Putter, Witsy Musen, Ryan Camp and Cameron Mason. Michael Van Turnhout at the back of the group of 14. Scott Funston of the USA down in 18th place. First Irish rider is Darnell Moore in 19th place at the moment. Ellie is a bit just trying to stay on terms. Tabo Nace, you kind of get the sense that he feels that this race could be his. He can just keep the momentum and keep the pressure. He said he liked the course and he was very pleased to be here. Isabeth said the same. Tabo Nace being particularly complimentary about this course, thinking that it's a proper Belgium cyclocross course. Oh, the fans really urging everybody on at the side of the track. Second time we've been in Dublin, of course, for a UCI World Cup cyclocross. A little bit of mud on the lens there. The history of the World Cups. The first one was organised in 1993. Took a long time and a little bit too long until the women had their own World Cup in 2002. The record champion is Sven Nys, the father of Thibaut, who won the final classification of the World Cup 7 times and had a total of 50 victories in the World Cups. Still a long string of riders in with the shouts. It's getting more and more difficult to pick out who's who, isn't it? Tabo Nace. At least the helmet, the red and blue helmet, is clean. There's going to be some fantastic photos this afternoon, aren't there? Well, if you'd like to get in touch, at @McCrossan is where you can get me on social media. Just see how this race unfolds. Joe McGill, thank you very much for being in touch. Let's just take a look through as we see the leader come round the corner to complete lap number 2. Thabo Nace with a slender advantage at the end of lap 2. 6.08 kilometers covered. That's an 8:09 lap, 7 seconds slower than the first lap. So it's Nace from Isabit, from Pim Ronhaar, from Lawrence Wake, Toon van den Bos, then Joran Verschoor, Jens Adams, Kevin Kuhn, Witsi Meusen, Ryan Camp, Corny van Kessel and Cameron Mason. It's getting so wet through that section. Everybody's slowing down that lap, finding it a little bit more difficult. Michael van Turnhout comes in for a bike change. Changes on the left-hand side. Isabit now trying to come back at Thabo Nace. I think many riders were expecting to go out on a much drier and faster course. Certainly this morning when we were watching the riders, we're thinking it's going to be really quick out here this afternoon. Keep an eye at the bottom of the screen. That's where you can get a little bit of a view of where the various nationalities are. For American fans, Scott Funston down in 18th place still now, wearing a WTB kit from California. Thabo Nace. He's led over the first 2 laps. We're going to have a 7-lap race today. No surprises there. The women's was 6. Over the hurdles for Thabo Nace. This just gives him that little advantage on the likes of Ronhaar. The gap is maintained, and it's around about 4 seconds to Isabit. There's the gap as they make their way through the fields. Long straight section, and then a really difficult little climb at the end of it. Confirmation at the bottom of the screen that Funston is there. Other nationalities for you, let's just pick them out. So the first British rider is Cameron Mason in 11th. His teammate Toby Barnes is in 16th place. The first Irish rider, Darnell Moore, in 19th. The first Spaniard is Mario Junquera. Felipe Ort's not riding today. But a nice contingent from Spain, including Arnaud Pericas and Elias Ascali. First Swiss rider, Loris Roulier. Sorry, second Swiss down in 18th. The first Swiss is Kevin Kuhn in 8th. It's a bit of a different mix of nationalities this afternoon. Only 7 different nations represented today. Jens Adams goes through the picture. It's that haunted, mud-filled face look, isn't it, today? It's incredible. But Thabo Nace continues to open up a little lead. Still only 3 seconds, though. He's not getting that sort of dominant gap. Isabit looks like he's still full of riding this afternoon. as he really stamps on the pedals to try and go across. Pim Ronhaar is there. Bike change on the left-hand side for Toon van den Bos. Now notice the way the riders are looking for the grass at the side of the road, just to see if they can find a little bit more traction under those tyres. Ronhaar just following Ellie is a bit across. Just good news for the Baloise Trek Lions, bearing in mind their teammates, Thibaut Nace and him. Back out onto this long section. You just need to find more power in this particular area, don't you? Everything comes into play here. A little bit of the aerodynamic effect will come into play, so the better skin suits, the better bikes. But he's such a fighter. He's such a bike racer. It might take him a little bit of time to get going, but once Isabit has got the measure of the course, he's able to just find little bits of speed that no one else can find. There's Lawrence Wake. Isabit is drawing closer. Slowly but surely, he takes back another second. There's Thibaut Nace in that red helmet. There's Isabit in the white. If Isabit can score maximum points today, he's going to open up a big advantage on Lars van der Haar. Van der Haar always said he wouldn't ride in Dublin. Chosen to take a little bit of a break after yesterday, where he finished second to Isabit. Both of them, though, were tracking Michael van Turnhout before he had that big crash. Now the endurance is starting to tell, isn't it? Look at Isabit coming back. An impressive performance by the World Cup leader. He's hunting him down. Well, in the words of Thin Lizzy from Dublin, he's fighting my way back now. Isabit is going to get on terms. And now this race changes. Isabit goes to the front. He's almost there. There is Thibaut Nace, sprinting for all he is worth. Look at these shots. Sand and mud-coked bikes. End of lap number 3. And we're about to see the groups of riders come together. Thibaut Nace goes across the line, but he's about to get company. An 8:01 lap for Thibaut Nace, but Elie Isabit has just done a 7:58 lap. The fastest lap of the race so far for Elie Isabit and Pim Ronhaar, as they now make it 3 leaders. But Baloise Trek Lions are in the ascendancy. It's a Baloise sandwich with a nice Paus sauce and filling. Still anybody's race. Jens Adams trying to come across. And Thibaut Nace, though, refusing to give in. Fastest lap of the race then, Pim Ronhaar and Elie Isabit. Ronhaar just 0.1 of a second faster. Average speed for both of them, 22.56 kilometers an hour. Thibaut Nace with the 3rd fastest lap. That was on that lap as well, an 8:01.7. And it's Toon van den Bos and Joran Verschoor. Nace is refusing to let Isabit get on his wheel. Seemingly finding traction that Isabit can't find in this particular area of the course. And Ronhaar's going to present some issues. These two riders getting to the front for Barwar's Trek Lions. The group behind is coming across. Thébo Nace takes a little bit of a relax. Let's bear in mind here that Ronhaar has won in Dendermonde this season, where he beat Lars van der Haar and Laurens Sweeck. Thébo Nace so much cleaner at the moment than Ronhaar and Isabit. Everybody behind is just caked in mud. But where Thébo Nace has ridden on his own, you're still able to see his face. But we're going to have 6 leaders any moment now. Look at the way that Thébo Nace is riding, how he's finding that little extra bit of tempo. Just a bit all over the bike, isn't he? Now he relaxes. He finally gets to the wheel. 7 laps of racing. We're on lap number 4, so we're past the midway point now. Thébo Nace will be very pleased with that new contract he's just signed. Well, if you ever come to Dublin, make sure you visit all the famous places. Famous for the pubs and places where everybody goes out around St Stephen's Green and Grafton Street. It's a vibrant city. Place you will certainly get a warm welcome, there's no doubt about that. Here's our group of riders behind that front little section. Toon van den Bos leading there at 21 seconds. The British champion's going to be a little bit disappointed this afternoon. Cameron Mason, he was really up for today's race, but he's way down in 13th place. He just hasn't found the tempo in the legs at all. Out to the pits that time, many riders taking bikes. Little acceleration now at the front. And it's Verschoor who's decided to go clear for the Crayland squad. Oh, and a real broadside skid from Thébo Nace. I don't think I've ever seen Joran Verschoor at the front of a World Cup cyclocross. This is a little bit of a moment in his career, wearing number 14 and riding away from the rest of the field. Little advantage, 3 seconds on the second place rider. So Verschoor goes through the camera there. Behind him is Jens Adams. Ronhaar and Nace together. Ellie is a little bit further back. Laurens Sweeck looking good up towards the front. Everybody just trying to track and stay there. Just fight for position, fight for a wheel. Riders taking different lines There's no more extra grip there anymore. You can see that all the grass is gone. It's just mud. And this is one of those days where you'll wake up tomorrow and you will not like Monday at all. You'll feel like you've been through the wars. Nice little camera shot there, giving you that fisheye lens look at what's going on. Well, the light is fading in Dublin now. It's starting to get a little bit colder. Still anyone's race, though. We're getting a tremendous tussle. Who is going to take the initiative? That's the big question. Joran Versure has gone 8.08, 8.07, 8.03 in his laps. Jens Adams in second and 8.07, 8.09, 8.03. T-Bone Nace has gone 8.02, then an 8.09, then an 8.01. Pim Ronard's gone 8.06, 8.08, 7.58. And it looks like him and Ellie Isabit are kind of suffering a little bit after that 7.58 lap, because they're the only two riders who've gone sub 8 minutes for a lap. T-Bone Nace looks around at his teammate Pim Ronard. Trying to come back to the two riders at the front. Joran Versure and Jens Adams. Coming up to complete lap number 4, and the front group of riders is all intact. Joran Versure has led the majority of that lap. Bit of an attack now from Pim Ronhart as he goes through. Can Pim Ronhart extend this advantage a little bit? That was an 8.19 lap for him. 8.14 lap for Joran Versure. Nice to see a rider like Versure at the front of this race. 22 years of age. He's now tucked himself back into the group. But in terms of cyclocross, he's had some great performances. He was the under-23 world champion in Fayetteville. That was back in 2022. He's had some good results in DVV trophies as a junior. This year, or last season, as an under-23 rider, he won 3 rounds of the X2O trophy, which is one of the other series in World Cyclo-cross. Fastest lap of the race so far, Pim Ronhart then, 7:58.7, that was lap 3. Let's just take a look and see how this starts to unfold. There is Lawrence Swake, has moved up into 3rd. Now Ronhart making his move. 34.5 minutes of racing gone. Ronhart did this when he took the round of the World Cup in Dendermonde. Just attacked and went away over those hurdles. Isabit chases. This is exactly how Ronhart won that round. He eventually came home the victor ahead of Lars van der Haar, with Lawrence Swake in 3rd place. Ellie Isabit was in 4th. Gerben Kuipers was in 5th. Kevin Kuhn was in 6th place. Ronhart with a 3-second advantage now. Elizabeth must be wondering, how do I win this race? Because each time he gets to the front, there's another attack. He's hauling himself forward all the time. Ronald checks over his shoulder. Just a few reminders of riders. Scott Funston's now in 16th place. He's moved up a little bit. The faces on these riders. 3 laps of racing to go. Ron Haar leads. The way these riders ride this sand is so impressive. There's a bit in second. Lawrence Swake in 3rd place. Oh, and a problem for Thibaut Nace. I've watched Lawrence Swake train in the sand before on a beach. Just going up and down, doing loops, just trying to get a feeling for how the sand goes and how you use your power to good effect. He's a bit again losing a few seconds. He's 6 seconds behind. Lawrence Swake with him in 7 seconds down. Another second behind Elizabeth. And now it looks like this trio, after Joran Verschoor led, have now started to open up a gap. Pim Ron Hart, they can't let him go. They know he's got the strength. Is a bit finding more traction on the grass. Good bit of riding there by Elizabeth. Looks like we're going to get 3 riders perhaps come together as a trio at the front of this race. Then things will start to be decided over the closing laps, but Ron Haar's refusing to let them come up to him. Have to bear in mind on this little concrete section that the riders have got hardly any pressure in those tyres at all. So when they're in the mud, it feels good, but when they're on the road, it feels like they're riding on the rim of the wheel. Horrible feeling, but one which the riders put up with so they can get more and more traction in the muddy sections. Ron Haar continues with his advantage intact. It's one of those days where tactically it's difficult to win the race because it's just about how much power you can find and how much traction you find in the mud. Here's our group of riders behind. Thibaut Nace, who led for so long. He's in 4th. 5th place is Verschoor. 6th place is Jens Adams. This shot gives you such a lovely sensation of just how far away Ron Haar is and how hard the other 2 riders are fighting to get across to him. Nice crowd in this section. You have to admire their confidence and endurance this afternoon. Staying there in the freezing cold and the pouring rain to enjoy this racing. You hardly tell Lawrence Swake from the front. From the back, you can see the green of his jersey. There's Jens Adams making his way past the noise of the chainsaws. We go back to the front. Coming up to 40 minutes of racing. Ron Haar's attack has lasted over 5 minutes now. There's Elizabeth trying to find a bit of acceleration on what is faster terrain. It's going to take a little bit of time for this track to regrow after this race. There's the rundown of how we're doing. Ron Haar 3 seconds ahead of Isabit, 4 seconds ahead of Swake, 19 to Verschoor, 20 to Nace. So Ron Haar really has capitalised on that attack. We come up to the end of lap 5. Lap 5 completed, and the solo leader is Pim Ron Haar. That's an 8-minute lap. He really has put in a very fast lap that time. The question is whether he's got enough left in the legs to continue at this tempo, because he's gone 8:06, 8:08, 7:58, 8:19, and then an 8-minute lap. Lawrence Swake, he's gone 8:08, 8:07, 8:03, 8:15, 8:08. So he had one bad lap. 2 more laps of racing to go. Swake into the pits, wants the bike really fast. Getting a little bit agitated as he came into the pits that time. He knows the bike changes have got to be perfect. In these sort of conditions, though, the riders are going to be, they're wet and they're cold, and anything that goes slightly wrong, they're going to get annoyed at. Good move here by Ron Haar. Just pushing on. Can Isabit get back? Both of these riders searching for their second World Cup win of the season. Strange, isn't it, how Isabit just cannot close that gap. Lawrence Swake, a rider who last year was so strong throughout the season. This year he's there or thereabouts, but not quite where he was last year. Swake last year, second in Besançon, second here in Dublin, behind Wout van Aert and ahead of Tom Pidcock. Second in Hulst. He was also on the podium on other occasions. He won, of course, in Bexley Bergen. That was round number 5 of the season. There's Michael van Turnhout. And still, Pim Ron Haar continues to make Ellie Isabit's legs ache. Really impressive performance by Ron Haar again today. Once you've won one, the floodgates can open. Screech of brakes into the turn. Next lap round, they're going to get the bell. Remember, the men need to race as close to 60 minutes of racing as possible. Fastest lap so far. Ron Haar on lap 3, 7:58.7. Isabit also on that lap, 7:58.8. Thabo Nace, lap number 3, 8:01.7. Toon van den Bos has got the 4th fastest lap. That was on lap 1, an 8:02. And then an 8:03 for Joren Verschoor on lap number 3. That's our top 5 laps. As we look back here at Lawrence Swake. This is his terrain. This is his playground. And Ron Haar is starting to create another bit of a gap. Five seconds now the lead, but this is good news for Isabit because Ron Haar's had to take a bike, and he knows that because he's got the traction, this should bring him onto the wheel. Now Isabit hasn't come out in the lead, but he has come out just a little bit closer to the leader. Bike change for these muddy warriors. Isabit now able to just stick on the wheel of Pim Ronhaar for a little bit of time. It is one of those days where you need to be at the front. You want to set the tempo, set the pace, go with what you are comfortable with, and make the riders behind you really struggle. And that's what Ronhaar is doing. You can see just how strong he is as he drags open another gap. Isabit can't quite get to the wheel yet. It's going to be all about the final lap. Laurens Sweeck is setting himself up for that final lap now. He knows there is a World Cup victory at stake here, and he's in with a shout. Both the riders at the front have had victories this year. Laurens Sweeck has not had that World Cup win yet this season. The crowd can sense that this is going to be a real showdown at the end. The last time Laurens Sweeck won a World Cup was in Bexley Bergen, which was round 5 last season. Sweeck's had 2 podium finishes so far, both third places. It's 3 different teams, 3 different riders at the front now. Just to run through some other names for you. Cameron Mason is 14th for Great Britain. Scott Funston is 16th for the United States of America. Toby Barnes of Great Britain in 18th. The first Irish rider is Darnell Moore in 19th place. Through the murk and the mud of Dublin, Pim Ronhaar still continues his assault on the legs of Sweeck and Elie Isabit. 48 minutes of racing coming up, nearly 50. We're going to be right on the 60-minute mark at the end of this race. Yet again, Ronhaar finds a little bit of speed that no one else can find. It's all going to be about this final lap of racing. Look at Isabit. He is turning himself inside out this afternoon just to try and stay there. We come up to the bell. 1 lap of racing to decide who wins round 5 of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. And Ronhaar gives it another big dig. 1 lap of racing to go. An 8:23 lap for Ronhaar. Isabit. Sweeck did an 8:18. How will this play out? Ronhaar has given it some acceleration now. Behind, it's Joran Verschoor and Jens Adams. Thabo Nace is down in 6th place. But Ronhaar puts in a concerted move now to win. Laurens Sweeck still looking comfortable towards the back of this group here. But he can't use Isabit up too much. He needs to make his own move at some point. Here's the next group of riders. Michael van Turenhout is in that group. It includes Mitzi Rosen and Niels van der Putte, as well as Toon van den Bos. Well, thanks for joining us for round 5. The solo leader is Pim Ronhaar. A gap of 5 seconds to Isabit and Lauren Swake. It looks like Ronhaar is starting to push home his advantage again. Impressive performance from this rider. Still working that bike. Isabit looks around to see if Lauren Swake will give him any help at all. Ronhaar puts in a bit more pace, and it looks like this gap is starting to extend. 22 years of age. Used to be a member of the Pauwels Sausen team until he was signed by Bauwels Trek Lions in 2021. Being second in the Junior World Cup, he won Kopside, won Zeven as a junior. He's been a European junior champion, a national junior champion. But in recent years, Ronhaar has started to show great results in the World Cup. He's won the under-23 race in Namur. He's also finished 3rd in Besançon. So dull here in Dublin this afternoon. There is Isabit. It looks like he's totally cracking now. Ronhaar has put these two to the sword. Or has he? Because here comes Lauren Swake, last year's World Cup winner. Swake is an absolute master of the sand. Look at him go. Lauren Swake is on the hunt now for a World Cup win. Swake is looking like he's found a bit of pace now. Is this the moment the World Cup win has taken? Is taken by Swake. Look at him go now. Ronhaar, shoulders left and right. Swake is putting in a massive turn of pace here, and he looks absolutely rock solid on that bike. He knows it's one lap of effort. That's all it's going to take. Ronhaar is right in the hurt box now. He looks around and he can see that he's being hunted down. Swake totally poker-faced behind the mask of mud. But what part of the course does Swake have a little bit more of an advantage? The only advantage he has right now is that he can see the finish line in front of him. He knows that that is the wheel he needs to catch. Swake has ridden a measured race this afternoon in Dublin. He knows the course. It's slightly different to last year, but Swake was second last year to Wout van Aert and ahead of Tom Pidcock, so he knows exactly how to win here. Swake comes out the turn. He's almost on the wheel of Ronhaar, who has led since the 34-minute mark. 20 minutes of effort in the lead. Is it all for nothing? Because right now, Swake is about to catch him. Ronhaar refusing to look around, going forward with or without you. This is Ellie Isabit, who has totally cracked now. He's going to come under pressure soon because Joran Verschoor is just behind him. This is Thibaut Nace. It's only 2 seconds now at the front. What a finale we're going to have in Dublin. It's going to be an absolute showdown. This is the front of the race, and Laurens Sweeck can taste the Guinness on the finish line. He comes up alongside Ron Haar. Right on the wheel here. He's pushing, he's pressing, he's giving him real fright now. And now Sweeck is going to make his move. And they go shoulder to shoulder. And Sweeck attacks in the mud. What a move by Laurens Sweeck. Now he's going to track. And now he's going to try and crack Ron Haar. He's got the desire to win this race. Look at Sweeck now as he pushes some watts. Ron Haar fights his way back. He refuses to give in. What a finish we're going to have. Ron Haar gets back on the wheel. He says to Sweeck, I've been in the front for over 20 minutes. I refuse to let you win this race. Does this open the gap up again for someone to come back? Ron Haar attacks hard. They come round the corner. Ron Haar has got the inside line. It's a sprint finish. And despite getting caught, Pim Ron Haar is going to win in Dublin. 2 wins in a World Cup. He took the right line round that turn. Sweeck is a deflated 2nd place. That was absolutely sensational. Elizabeth, who worked so hard, 3rd place for him. And just behind, with his best performance of the season, Joran Verschoor in 4th place. 5th place to Jens Adams. And now the sprint for 6th place between Ryan Kamp and Thibaut Nace. Kamp looks around. Thibaut Nace has got a very, very fast sprint. But Ryan Kamp can match him as they go wheel to wheel. Wow, photo finish for 6th. Thibaut Nace and Ryan Kamp. It looked like Thibaut Nace just got it on the inside. Kevin Kern is going to finish in 8th place. 9th place, Niels van der Putte. And what a day for Michael van Turenau. He finishes in 10th. 11th place to Toon van den Bos.
Just behind
12th place. This looks like Witsi Meusen. Proper bike race today. A very disappointed Laurens Sweeck. What a race it was. Pim Ron Haar attacked into that turn. Look at the way they came round the turn. It was incredible. 13th place for Corny van Kessel. Corny van Kessel comes round the turn. Thirteenth place for him today.
come through to welcome the final riders home. Shortly, I'll be heading to that podium myself.
Gerben Kuipers, he comes round the turn. We've seen some great performances from him this season already. Gerben Kuipers finished 4th last time in Troyes. Bit of a change in 14th. And Cameron Mason has had a day I think he'd rather forget. Down in 15th place. He was looking for a lot better than that, but a great weekend for him, having finished third yesterday. Maybe the legs just said enough. One of those days for Cameron Mason, 15th for him, and should be coming round the corner. The American rider, Scott Funston, should be in 16th. Let's take a look then at the highlights of round 5. "28 riders from 7 nations on the start line at round 5 of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup in Dublin. A very, very fast start in the rain and onto the mud. At the front, Niels van der Putte, Elizabeth, Lauren Swake and others. Well, it was one of those days when the mud would have a great deal of say in who took today's victory. You had to deal with it. You had to have the power to get through it. Certainly not a beautiful day in Dublin. Slipping and sliding. Some fantastic ways of riding through the sand section, though. The hurdles being dominated in the early stages by Thabo Nace, who was at the front for 3 laps of racing. Thabo Nace, the winner in Waterloo. Elizabeth had a day of chasing the leader. Once Thabo Nace was caught at the front, there was a few other little skirmishes, and eventually Pim Ronhaar, his teammate, went clear. The two Baloise Trek Lions riders working together. Ronhaar came to the front and then pushed on his advantage. Ronhaar making his move after about 34.5 minutes of racing. And he led for a considerable amount of time, making life very hard for Elizabeth and Lauren Swake in 2nd and 3rd. Behind, a few mistakes by Thabo Nace as the race really tired these riders out. Pim Ronhaar at the front for over 20 minutes of the race. Eventually, though, he was caught by Lauren Swake. Swake tried to take the victory. There was a bit of dicing, but as they went into the final corner, Ronhaar made his move. Swake reacted way too slow. And his 2nd World Cup win of the season. Pim Ronhaar takes the win in Dublin. Swake a disappointed 2nd place. 3rd place for Elizabeth, holds on after a really difficult race. Let's take a look at the results in Dublin. Pim Ronhaar wins in 57 minutes 17 seconds, ahead of Lauren Swake with Elizabeth in 3rd place. Great performance by Joran Verschoor in 4th, with Adams and Nace in 5th and 6th. Here's the standings now. Elizabeth leads ahead of Pim Ronhaar, with Lars van der Haar staying at 121 points, and Lauren Swake now in 4th place. Not too much damage done in terms of the overall lead to Lars van der Haar. And here's this battle for 1st place. Look at Ronhaar, the way that he kicked into that turn. It was fantastic. Victory for Ronhaar in Dublin. it's the teamwork, isn't it, of the entire team. They're as disappointed as the rider is. They've lived the race. That little one's had a good day out. We'll wait then to hear from the riders and find out their thoughts on today's course. Lawrence Swake, in some ways, should be happy with his performance, his best result of this World Cup campaign so far. Is a bit continuing with that thing that he does where he's so consistent, so often on the podium. And that just keeps him high up in the World Cup. The fans just making their way to the podium to enjoy watching this race. Not long until we see the podium presentation. Bernays in the top 6 again today after taking the first round victory in Waterloo. Fastest lap of the day was lap 3, Pim Ronhaar with a 7:58.7. Ellie is a bit on lap 3 also with 7:58.8. Average speed of that fast lap, 22.56 kilometers an hour. There's some great headgear today, isn't there? We're just getting the riders to tidy up after what has been a tough race out there, very muddy. And then we'll hear from the riders, of course, and we'll have the podium presentation. I hope you've enjoyed today's racing. Next time, we're going to head to Flamanville. The next round after that will be Val de Soleil. And then we go to Namur, which is always one of those very difficult days of cyclocross, perhaps the hardest cyclocross of the season. Let's hear now from Elizabeth, who has, I think today, been the hardest worker in the race, just constantly trying to take the win. Here's Elizabeth now.
Elizabeth, what's the feeling after this race?
Tiring. Yeah, it was a pretty hard race for me. It was pushing the whole hour, and yeah, with the deep mud, I had a bit of a disadvantage, but I kept pushing hard, and yeah, it's podium for me, so I think that's the most that was in it today.
Was the last lap the lap too much?
Yeah, I felt a bit empty the last lap, and then my sand section didn't go really well, so yeah, I had to fight still for the 3rd place because the 4th came really close, so I was happy that it was a finish.
Even in het Nederlands. Elizabeth, met welk gevoel sta je hier na deze race?
Uitgeput. Het was een lastige wedstrijd voor mij. De modderstukken rechtdoor waren echt diep gaan. En zo lang mogelijk bijblijven, maar de laatste ronde was ik wel compleet leeg. Dus ja, was 3e denk ik het hoogst haalbaar.
Wat maakt het zo moeilijk om dichter bij Ronhaar te geraken? Want ja, je hing daar echt wel achter, 4, 5 seconden. Maar er helemaal bij geraken was vaak moeilijk.
Ja, ik denk dat Pim beter was op de diepere modderstukken. Dus ja, dan proberen gewoon zo lang mogelijk bij te blijven en zo dicht mogelijk bij hem te blijven, maar dat is niet simpel. En ik voel de laatste ronde, de laatste anderhalve ronde, dat het een beetje leeg was. Dus ja, ik moest nog vechten voor die derde plek ook, maar ja, al bij al een mooie wedstrijd ook hier met een heel lastig parcours.
Dankjewel, proficiat met die derde plaats.
Ellie is a bit a tired rider after what was one of those days where you had to have your feet on the pedals the entire time, pushing, really pushing all the way through. Let's hear now from Pim Ronhaar, the winner of today's race.
Pim Ronhaar, what a win. What a race. Take us through that race. How did you make this happen?
At the beginning, I thought Thibaut was going to win this race easy. It was a really hard pace, but I was always in third, fourth position because I knew last year I did the same, and that was the best for this course because it's so compact, the first half of the race. And then after, I think, 3 laps before the end, I saw that Elie was on a gap, so I gave it my all. Yeah, and I felt so good. The sandpit wasn't my thing, but the last lap I did it really good. And then Lawrence, in the last 500 meters, he came past me, and I was like, oh shit, I'm not gonna win this race. And I was like waiting for the right moment. And when I went, I felt so strong. And I was looking a little bit behind, and I saw he was nowhere. So, yeah, insane feeling to win like this.
When did you know you had the legs to win?
I think after 40 minutes, when I placed the attack, I could ride my own pace. Yeah, I felt so strong.
Congratulations. Even in het Nederlands. Pim Ronhaar, wat een overwinning. Neem ons even doorheen deze hele race. Hoe heb je dit klaargespeeld?
Ja, ik weet het eigenlijk ook zelf nog niet. In het begin dacht ik dat Thibaut deze wedstrijd ging winnen omdat hij zo hard reed. Maar ik wist ook dat ik niet vanaf het begin alles moest geven. Omdat het blijft zo lang bij elkaar dit rondje. Omdat het niet echt technisch is. De zandbak was een heel cruciaal punt. En dat deed ik eigenlijk niet heel soepel. En de laatste ronde reed ik daar echt super doorheen. Maar ik wist dat Laurens ook elke ronde daar hard doorheen rijdt. Hij zat nog niet direct in mijn wiel. En pas achter op parcours zat hij in mijn wiel. En ging hij over me heen op echt ideale momenten om mij te passeren. Dus ik zat een beetje in diepe modder vast. En ik dacht, shit, ik ga niet meer winnen. En toen liet hij het eigenlijk stilvallen voor de finish. Ik wachtte mijn juiste moment af. Ik weet dat ik geen sprinter ben, dus ik had niet verwacht dat ik hem zou kloppen. Maar toen ik aanging voelde ik dat er echt heel veel op zat. En ik keek iets achter me en ik zag niet dat hij direct in mijn wiel zat. En dat was, om op zo'n manier te winnen is het nog gaver als in Dendermonde eigenlijk.
Heb je even getwijfeld op het einde?
Ja, op het moment dat hij voorbij me kwam dacht ik, fuck, ik wil tweede. Sorry, dacht ik, shit, ik wil tweede. Maar ik weet niet, hij liet het een beetje stilvallen. Ik denk dat hij ook redelijk op zijn limiet zat. Misschien als hij hem direct had doorgetrokken tot aan de finish, had ik er niet meer overgekomen. Ik wachtte gewoon het juiste moment af, denk ik. En ik kon de bocht ruim aansnijden en iets afsnijden. Maar hij zat volgens mij niet direct in mijn wiel. Dus ideaal gedaan volgens mij.
Opnieuw een overwinning in de wereldbeker. Had je dit een paar maanden geleden durven dromen, durven denken?
Gevoel op training wel. Ik wist dat ik wel mee kon doen. Maar vorige week was ik 17, dus ik snapte er echt helemaal niks van. En dat was echt een super slechte wedstrijd. Oké, ik wist dat ik last van mijn rug had en dat het daardoor kwam. Maar als je 17e wordt en dan ga je toch met iets minder vertrouwen naar hier. Maar dat ik dan vandaag, ik snap het niet, dat ik dan vandaag weer win. Geen idee. Ja.
Je kan gelukkig terug op het vliegtuig stappen.
Ja, ik hoop dat ik de vlucht ga halen trouwens.
Dikke proficiat.
Pim Ronhaar just shows you just have to keep trying. 40 minutes until he decided that he might win the race. The fans are still waiting for the podium. Let's hear now for Laurens Wake.
Laurens Wake, you were so close. What happened in the last lap?
Yeah, I had a flat tire in the second last lap, and the gap I had to close then was quite big already. And in the end, it was like that. Then my legs were, it was too much in the end. I tried to go directly when I catch him just before we go to the straight line, but the legs were getting full there.
Were you surprised by the attack in the end, before the last corner?
It was not so far, so it was the moment, but like I said, my legs were empty there. I give too much to come back already, and yeah, when I don't have the flat tire, I think the win was possible.
Still second place. Beautiful race. Thank you very much. Vragen in het Nederlands ook. Laurens Week, je was er zo dichtbij. Wat een wedstrijd. Wat gebeurt daar allemaal in die laatste ronde?
Ja, Pim had zijn aanval al ingezet, net daarvoor. En ik was eigenlijk aan het terugkomen van mijn lekke band. Dus ja, ik had al een rappe voorlaatste ronde moeten rijden. En ik kreeg ook niet echt de kans voor te herzetten. En ik kan ook niet echt de aansluiting direct maken. En ik had gehoopt dat Elite misschien nog net iets meer dicht kon rijden. Dat ik er iets meer van kon profiteren. En ja, net voor de zandbak heb ik dan ook niet meer getwijfeld. En toen was het al een serieuze inspanning om nog te dichten. En ja, ik zeg het, dat laatste stuk in het veld lag er echt nog lastig bij. En ik wou hem daar eigenlijk gewoon direct counteren en misschien een beetje laten verschieten en het mentaal overgewicht pakken. Maar het pakte niet echt. Dus, en ja, mijn benen liep echt volledig vol toen. En ja, in de sprint zat er niet veel meer op.
Was je ook verrast toen hij aanging? Of had je het wel zien aankomen dat het daar ging gebeuren, net voor die laatste bocht?
Ja, het was meer sprinten op leven en dood. Hè. Ik denk dat mijn benen liepen vol, maar die van hem sowieso ook wel. Maar ik zeg het, mijn inspanning duurde al te lang van in die voorlaatste ronde met die lekke band. En die laatste punch had ik er dan net niet meer op zitten.
Voor de wedstrijd praatte je ook al over de pech die je gehad hebt. Het was opnieuw van dat, hè?
Ja, ik mag echt iets gaan opvangen, want met lekke banden winnen, dat lukt gewoon niet. Het zijn allemaal goede renners waar je tegen moet vechten. En je ziet dat het net weer dat tikkeltje is dat het hem doet. Anders dan had ik wel met beter papieren gegaan, denk ik. Het ging hard aan toe, net op die moment ook. De koers was eigenlijk echt, werd echt gereden. En net op die moment daar van achter op die bergen plat rijdt, was het echt even mentaal ook weer een klopdag gekregen. En het zag er eigenlijk echt even slecht uit. En ik was eigenlijk al tevreden dat ik nog min of meer terug kon aansluiten. Ik ben wel tevreden van mijn wedstrijd, van mijn gevoel. Dus ik hoop dat ik nu die lijn terug kan verder trekken.
Dus je kan toch met een tevreden gevoel naar huis?
Ja, dat wel, sowieso.
Proficiat.
Lawrence Wake reflecting on today. Well, we didn't see him with that puncture, but what a performance he put in to get back to the front. Waiting for the podium presentation of round 5 of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. The light is fading in Dublin. The riders are getting ready. All cleaned up, sparkling clothes on, ready to appear on this podium. Imran Ha is already ready. I was interested to hear what Pim Ronard said about Thibaut Nace, that he felt that he might have been the winner. He was at the front for so long today. And we're almost ready for the podium presentation.
Can we do a podium first? Yeah. Coming back. Toch trager op het einde, hè? Ik had het niet aan gevoeld.
Final preparations before the podium presentation. Dublin has hosted a great round of racing today. A fantastic course and a nice crowd cheering on the riders. We're pretty much ready to present the winners. The riders will move to Flamanville next time.
Okay. Thank you for your patience. Anyone wet out there? Got a few bike riders for you. Give them a big hand. What a fantastic.
Here's our podium of the men's round of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup in Dublin.
I know you guys are cold as well. The flowers are going to be presented to the third place rider. And I'd like to call on Ambassador Karen van Vleerberger from Belgium, who's going to make the presentation to, very appropriately from Belgium, and representing Poland, Susan Bingle, your third place rider today, Ellie Iserbyt.
Ellie Iserbyt takes third place today.
What a sensational battle again.
Continues his run of good form.
To get on terms, and he really gave us a great battle, as indeed did the man who eventually finished second on the day. Presenting the flowers to your second place riders, Dr. Una May, CEO of Sport Ireland, who helped make this event happen.
Fan of Ellie Iserbyt there at the front. Oh, Lawrence Swake almost made it, didn't he? Almost there.
Lawrence Wake of the Corendon squad, and of course of Belgium.
Just got outfoxed into that final corner by Pim Ronhaar.
We've got the Minister for Sport, Thomas Byrne, is going to present the flowers to your victor. What a great sprint finish from your winner on the day, your men's elite winner in Dublin. Put your hands together for Pim Ronhaar.
Second win of the season in the World Cup for Pim Ronhaar. Very pleased indeed with his result. You can see.
From the Netherlands and Balwas Trek Lions. And if we could call for a bit of hush, we're going to play the national anthem of the winning rider. Top three riders here. Pim Ronhaar getting the victory. A sensational job.
Pim Ronhaar, the winner of round 5 in Dublin. There's our podium of the day. Iserbyt, Swake and Ronhaar on the top 3 steps.
For third on the day, Ellie Iserbyt. Second on the day, Lawrence Wake. And your winner, Pim Ronhaar.
And the crowd selfie, as always, with the Guinness. Why not? I don't think you'd be able to down all of that, Pim. Wow. A pint of Guinness, no.
Okay, so we're going to ask now Thomas Byrne, the Minister of Sport, is going to assist us with the final.
And now Ellie Iserbyt will be presented with the World Cup leaders jersey.
And he's going to be presenting the
We'll find out if he's going to ride in Flamanville.
World Cup to Ellie Iserbyt.
So Ellie Iserbyt is crowned the leader of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup in that red and white jersey again. We've had a great round of racing here in Dublin. We're going to head to Flamanville. From me, Anthony McCrossan, thanks very much for watching. Join us next time. Bye for now.
Heading into the next round. Well done to Ellie.